Hey, Bobby here with Coder Foundry, and recently Microsoft's been working on .NET 10, and they've introduced a really cool feature that I think you'll find interesting, and that's the ability to run C# files directly from the command line without the need for a solution or a project. And this could even change our approach or how we look at scripting in general. It may remove the need for PowerShell in the future because now we have the full C# language inside of a scripting environment. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Now, this is a VS Code here, and you can see I've got a couple of extensions installed, the C# Dev Kit. And this is running in the pre-release mode. And I also have .NET 10 Preview 4. So if you're looking at this in the future, it's Preview 4 and above that this will work for .NET 10. And you can see right off the bat here, there is nothing in this folder at all. No files, no structure, no C# file, no C# proj file or solutions or anything like that. And I'm going to write a simple C# script, so hello.cs, okay? And this is a C# file here, and I'm going to say console.writeline, hello world. And then we'll come down here and say .NET run hello. And it's going to compile it and execute it and run that C# code. Now notice before, you had this whole pomp and circumstance. You got to create a project, maybe with a solution. It's got all these different folders in it. You also had some main or static mains if you've done things like with console apps. You just write one line of code and it'll execute and run. And that's kind of cool. Well, what else could you do with this? Well, imagine in the future, maybe you're at a interviewing for a job and they hand you a file that says, hey, we got a coding challenge for you. Check to see if you can work here. Can you reverse a string in C#? And you're going to say, well, of course I did. You know, I watched Coder Foundry's channel. They know how to do that. So, or I went to the boot camp. So I'm going to say string original equals maybe hello world. Let's see, hello world. All right. And let's get rid of kabah here. We don't need that. And then say string reversed equals new string. Original, we can even shorten this up a little bit. All right. And from here, I could console writeline. Writeline reversed. Console writeline reverse string. Console writeline original string. We can get rid of this one. It's kind of redundant now. And we could come down and run this. .NET run coding challenge. Check it out. Now they may ask you, okay, we see you can do that. Can you check for a palindrome? And we're like, well, yeah, sure, I can do that. So if, and I can even make it case insensitive. So you can see here, I have all of the language accessible to me when I'm writing my code here. Everything that I could do in a normal project, I can do here. In fact, even the string interpolation, all of it. So we can make this a little better. Not bad, right? Kind of cool. All right. And then I could run this now that I've changed my app. We'll run it again. And it says, hello world is not a palindrome. That's kind of cool, but what else could you do? And they may ask you, well, that's great. How do we check to make sure this if statement's working? You could come up and change this to say radar or something like that and modify your program every time you want to check something. Or could these take arguments like you can in other languages where you just pass an argument in and it just reads it? And I'm like, well, yeah, you can do that. So args.first or default, I'm going to get the first one from the line. And if that is null, I'll just use hello world as my default. And so now I can come down here and go radar. Boom. And it says reversed is radar. Radar is a palindrome. In fact, we can check to make sure that it works still, and it still does. Kind of cool, right? So we can read things from the arguments. We got the full use of all the C# language here inside of a script that all we have to do is run a C# file. But what else can we do? Could we bring a package in? Is there other things that we could add to the C# file like we do in other programs? Well, let's check this out. One of the things that we do here is we generate mock data. So I'm going to make a mock data C# file, and I'm going to bring in a package that we really like, and it's called bogus here. And so I'm going to use this syntax here, package bogus, and I do have to know the version number, which is 35.6.3 at the time of writing, and using system.text.json, I'm going to need that. And then we'll say bogus. And so now I can do something like this. I can say var people equals a new person, something like this. Now you can notice here it's trying to look at a class here. I'm going to bring in my own class from this. I've got one already built. So I want my own model. I want to use my model, not the built-in thing. And so I got first name, last name, email address. And so first name, that's ID. We don't need that. So we're just going to change this here. Let's see if it'll regenerate for us. And there we go. Change it, first name. Let's try that. So we can get Copilot to do it for us. People equals, there we go. All right, so now it's first name, last name, email, and address. We don't need phone number. We'll just get rid of that one. And we can generate 10. Well, what if we want to vary this up? Let's vary this up a little bit. Equals 50, so we don't have to here, and then we'll just change this variable to count. And so this would generate fake people using bogus. Okay, so let's see, what else could we do? Well, just generate right here in line is kind of bad. Well, let's turn this into a JSON file, and we'll say new serialization people, and we'll take it like here. Okay, and now it's going to create a JSON file for us, and then I could take that JSON file. I'm going to write it right to disk here, people JSON, and then I could write a message here for my app. It says, hey, we generated fake people. I could even put a message up here that says, hey, we're starting. All right, just in case you needed to know how long this is taking. All right, so now we have this app here, and now I should .NET run, and we'll say mock. See if it works. Check it out. It created a file for me. So now I think your creative Jesus may be fine. All right, we're creating files. This could have very easily saved to a database. We could bring in any framework, whatever we want to do. All right. But we could also maybe make this app a little bit more useful. Instead of hard coding 50, we could check the arguments here. And so we can say if, and we'll say not integer.try parse, something like that. And what we're going to, instead of looking at environment variable here, we'll look at args, not first or default. Okay, we just look at the first argument it's got, change this to a var, and get rid of this. We don't say or. All right. And we could do it that way. It doesn't really matter. And we'll just change this default count here to 50. Okay. So if it's less than or equal to 0, we don't want a negative records coming in. Something like that. Let's get rid of this. And so now we can probably take this from the command line. It should be able to. So let's see, and we'll look at this. So we've got these records here. And let's see if we can create one record. And it generated one record. And if we don't pass anything to it, we'll check our -1 here. It should default to 50. Yep, defaulted to 50 people. Okay. So now we've got this mock data that is generated. You can probably see how this could be useful. There's a lot of use cases inside of Bogos, but let's say that you need address data or people data. You need, I don't know, some other things like users or whatever. You could create a bunch of these C# files, put them in a repo, pass them out to your team, and then they just have these simple utility scripts that they can run to make their life easier. And you can start seeing the power of doing this because we do have the complete C# language and the .NET framework here inside of a scripting language. It's kind of cool. But what else could we do? Could we take this one step further? I think we could. And so let's say that I want to mock up an API. I want to mock up an API using the people data here. So let's make a mock server. Just want to try it out. You know, I don't necessarily need the full-blown project yet, okay? I just want to try it out. So we could bring in the SDK here and we can write a web app, okay? Now this really should show you the power of what's going on here with us being able to run this simplified environment. And, you know, so let's get this, a couple things set up here. And so we're going to write a web app. And one of the things that we'll need is scalar.asp.core. And we'll also, we're going to need dependency injection. All right. So you've probably seen this in Program CS. So I'm going to create builder, a web application. Okay. And then I'm going to add things to this. So I'll say builder. Let's make this lowercase. Get builder.add open API. And then here, let's say var app equals builder.build. All right. Kind of cool. And this needs to be services. It didn't like that. Yeah, now we're good. Now we're cooking. All right, so now we've added open API support to our application, and then we build it. And from here, I need to map open API. And then I want to create my scalar use of this. And this is something they've added in .NET 9 that makes this a lot easier to do. And I need to give it my endpoint where where our scalar app can be seen. And we'll just make it right in the root. All right. And from here, I'm going to go ahead and grab the mock data. And I'm going to get that right from my file. And that is people.json, not mock data. And let's change this to data. All right. So now I'm reading right from this file, this folder here, and I'm getting the people JSON, okay? And now I need to turn this into, deserialize it, and also need my record here. So I'm going to grab my record and put this in my app here. Grab it from the other file here. Let's put that here. And let's just change this to record. All right. And I've also got this JSON ignore here as well. So I'm going to create a full name property because I want to search this, and we're just going to search on full name. So this is computed property right in here. Kind of cool. All right. All right. And so from here, now what I can do is .web. And let's get rid of this. This is not what we want to do. All right. And then I'm going to create just the people record here. And so if one instance of this, and if it's empty, we'll just make an empty array, something like that. All right. And what's just saying here? Okay. JSON serialization. There we go. I think that'll fix that. If not, this should compile, I think. All right. Got our person record here, our mock data coming in, and this isn't new. There we go. All right. So now we have people coming back. It's deserialized, and we can now use this as the source for our endpoint. So let's write a quick API endpoint. And from here, we can add in an optional parameter. Will be search, could be query, whatever you want to do. And now let's write a little code in here instead of just returning just everything. So a quick search. And we'll say var matching people. All right, and you can see right off the bat, it's looking at the first name, last name, email, which kind of works, but let's make it a little bit simpler here. Let's just get rid of all this, and we'll just look at full name. All right, and let's turn this into an array. And let's have a list. Okay, something real super simple. And from here now, we can return our typed results matching people. So it's saying here, saying things like typed results. All right, so that's our endpoint. And then from here, we just say app.run. And hopefully we can run this. So I can say .NET run mock server. And check this out here. So command line, look at that. And now have a mock server running in all of its glory. So I can try this out. I can test my request, hit send, it brings it back. And so we can look here at a name, Layla. So I can type in the search parameter here, and that pulls it back. Kind of cool, kind of nifty. All right. And so that is a full-blown web application running straight from the command line. It's kind of cool, mock server. And so hopefully that gets your creative juices flowing of the possibilities that this new feature in C# allows us to do. Is really going to change the way scripting or approach to scripting. In fact, now we have the complete C# language inside of a scripting environment, and you can just ship the file around, hit .NET run, and it just executes. And that's kind of cool, and that's kind of powerful. Anyway, I hope this helps. If you want to learn about Blazor or .NET development or anything like that, go to learn.coderfoundry.com. We would love to be your teacher, your coach, or a mentor to help you get that first or the next software development job. If you need to up your skills or you're learning for the first time, we've got courses for you, and that's learn.coderfoundry.com. I hope this helps. Good luck and keep coding.